Hello, beautiful peaches. Welcome to the Macros, Metabolism, and Motivation Beautiful Peach podcast. I'm your host, Caitlen, a reverse diet expert, sustainable fat loss nerd, and food freedom lover. After healing my own mind, body, and metabolism from the icky, restrict, binge, food guilt cycles, I became obsessed with helping other women do the same. I spent 6 years getting my bachelor's and master's degrees in all things nutrition, dietetics, and metabolism health, go Clemson Tigers, in order to start a science-backed, never cookie-cutter, always customized online macro and reverse diet coaching business. I have supported over 3,500 incredible women in their journey to endless results, and I am so excited to help you do the same. In this podcast, I will be teaching you how to break up with the yo-yo diet cycles, tips and tricks to heal your metabolism through reverse dieting. I will be giving away my sustainable weight loss secrets, all without you having to give up a single food you love. So if you are ready to rediscover that self-love and truly become the most confident, beautiful peach possible, grab a pen and a piece of paper, bump up your volume just a little, and let's dive right in. And don't forget to snag your completely free high-protein macro cookbook. All you need to do is submit a quality 5-star rate and review on this podcast, then fill out the form in the show notes so I know exactly where to send your cookbook. This will actually also automatically enter you into the weekly macro calculator giveaway. Every week, I give away a copy of my C. Schmidt macro calculator to one lovely, beautiful peach who has left an awesome 5-star rate and review on this podcast. The winner is announced every single week in my email newsletter email list, as well as my Instagram story. You can't miss it. So leave that 5-star rate and review, and I will see you in the episode. What is up, my beautiful, beautiful peach? Today we are going to be talking all about cardio, and specifically if you should do cardio during a reverse diet. I'm going to be walking through when it is best to do cardio, when you actually should not be doing cardio, which I think this is going to be mind-blowing to some of you. What I personally define cardio as, which may or may not be different than the way that you think about cardio, and how cardio can actually impact your reverse diet as well as your fat loss. So without further ado, I've got lots to talk about. Let's dive on into the episode. Should you do cardio for a reverse diet? If you are like me, you are not the biggest fan of cardio. I cannot stand standing on a treadmill and just running or walking for hours on end, or sweating on the stair climber, pretending I enjoy spin classes, which I definitely did that back when I was still in the phase of restrict, binge, food guilt, that cycle playing on repeat. I was overdoing it with cardio. I would do truly hours of cardio a day. If I was not running 6 miles on top of my strength training, on top of eating 1,200 calories, I would be, doing all these different things. I would go to spin class and I pretended that I really enjoyed it, when in reality, I did not like it at all. It always made my crotch hurt. Let's be honest, ladies, we know it always hurts. I always talk about it with my friends. We're like, oh, I now hurt days after that. And you're told to get a little bike pad and it does absolutely nothing. But I, in my mind, thought that cardio was what is going to make the difference when it came to seeing changes to my body. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to pretend that I love cardio. I'm going to pretend that I love spin class. And I really, really, really did not enjoy it at all. I do, however, love to be active. I love to go for walks with my husband and sweet Trisket, my dog. I enjoy hiking. I'm not really like the long 6-mile hike kind of gal. I'm more of like a couple miles. Let's hike to a very pretty waterfall. Let's make this like a nice, easy hike, that kind of situation. But I'm active, I like to get out and about. I don't mind taking the stairs. I will intentionally pick the stairs quite often. In parking lots, I usually tend to park at the very, very far back, just because I know, number one, everybody's trying to park as close as they possibly can to the front of the parking lot, and it's just a madhouse. And I'm like, number one, I'm getting out the parking lot traffic, and also more exercise for me, and also less cars to scratch up on mine when they're trying to park, which There are many good benefits to parking farther out in the parking lot. Now, this actually leads me into how I view cardio, okay? So I see cardio as your planned cardio. And this is running on a treadmill. This is sweating on the stair climber, right? This is going to your spin classes. It is planned cardio that you are doing, usually going to the gym, getting on some sort of cardio equipment. It can be, going for a run. It can be, anything like that where it is true planned cardio. You are planning that out during your day. And I see non-planned cardio, aka just being active, as what I was explaining is parking farther out in the parking lot, taking the stairs, going for walks, choosing to get that movement throughout the day without actually making it planned cardio on the treadmill. So we've got planned cardio versus just being active is kind of the way that I personally think about it. And I think that many women think that we must be doing all of the cardio in order to lose weight, and we can thank the diet industry for that one. Thank you. Cheers to you. And when we want to do cardio, when should we do cardio? This is going to be kind of there's a couple of different thoughts coming into play here. So I'm just going to start at the very top where, yes, it is very true that we want to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. Sweet Trisket almost just fell off her little bed thing. I switched the stairs. Quick little side note here. She's getting curled up. We have a little thing where she can climb up these stairs, and it has a little flat top on the little top there. And I have a pillow so she can sit there next to my desk and look out the window, and she has a nice little spot. But I had it turned to where the stairs were facing towards the door. And then I turned it to the side, and so it no longer faces the door. And I think she's used to the stairs being on the other side, and I think she got too close to the edge, and she kind of just jolted up, and it was really cute, but she corrected it, and she's good to go. I was like, oh shoot, am I gonna have to grab her? But she's good to go. She is living her best life. It is gonna be storming later today. Oh, it already is raining. I'm so excited. I love a cozy rainy day. Anyway, those are very big side notes for you. So back to what we were talking about here in this episode. Yes, it is true that we need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. However, if you are already in a calorie deficit, for example, eating 1,200 calories, 1,400 calories, 1,500 calories, right? And you are not losing weight, this doesn't mean that you, number one, need to go into a bigger calorie deficit. And also, this does not mean that you just need to add cardio or add more cardio in order to see more changes to your body, okay? If this is the case, this means that you actually need a reverse diet to heal your metabolism from that restrictive place. So anybody who has been dieting, anybody who has been yo-yo dieting in a restricted place, cutting out food, or just overall, even if you did a healthy calorie deficit, you still want to reverse diet after you do that calorie deficit so you don't have that weight regain. This is why for all of my BPM clients, I have a client right now who did her full reverse diet with me, eating well over 1,000 calories, and she maintained her weight range the whole entire time. But more importantly, because I think so. Another little side, I've got all these little side thoughts for this episode, so many side thoughts. But more importantly, she came to BPM not focusing in on the number on the scale. And I think this is so incredibly important because she came in and she was like, hey, Caitlen, I want to see these changes to my body. I don't really care what the number on the scale says, as long as I'm physically feeling good, as long as I'm fitting into my clothes nicely, as long as I'm seeing those changes, I recognize that the number of the scale isn't really the biggest determination of success. And I was like, all right, let's get you into BPM. You've got that mindset, you're ready to go. And I think a lot of times when women are so stuck on the number and the scale, it completely puts them in this place where they've got almost this roadblock. They can't open up their mind and expand what they're thinking. And it kind of actually really creates a roadblock, which is why I do love when I do have women. So if you are someone who's like, ooh, the scale really stresses me out, I love to work on that and kind of get that roadblock removed so you're able to move forward. So you're able to say, hey, I recognize that the scale doesn't matter. I recognize that muscle weighs way more than fat. I recognize that I may be down in inches, but the scale might be staying the same or have that couple pound fluctuation. But the point being here, side story there, is she did her full reverse diet with me in BPM. Then we did a calorie deficit. She's like absolutely thriving. And then after her calorie deficit, we put her back into a reverse diet because she lost, oh my gosh, I don't even know, so much weight, more than 30 pounds in the whole entire process. And she is just like feeling absolutely amazing, living her best life. She didn't have to go into a super restricted place when we did her calorie deficit. And also she did absolutely zero cardio. And I will be talking about this a little bit more shortly. But my point here is, and there's other episodes on this. This is not the main point of this episode because we're talking about cardio here. I just cannot help my nerdy self when it comes to reverse dieting, and little pieces pop into my mind and I'm like, oh, I think you need to hear this. And so the main thing here is, if you are in a calorie deficit and you're not seeing changes, whether that is an intentional calorie deficit due to, wanting to lose weight, obviously that's why we do calorie deficits, but in the sense of like yo-yo dieting, restricting, or if you're just in a calorie deficit that's a safe one and you did it and you're like good to go, you're not restricted, you're not struggling with your relationship with food, regardless of which reason you are in a calorie deficit, you still need to do that reverse diet in order to get your intake back up without having that weight regain, so you can maintain any weight that you have lost. So coming back to our episode, I think like for the third time now, I have so many notes here too. I have so many good little tidbits for you to learn. I just have so many extra tidbits that keep popping into my mind that are not in my notes. And I'm like, I need to share this. So coming back here, let me find where I even was in my notes. So yes, okay, when you do that reverse diet, you can go into a higher intake. So for example, going from 1,200 calories all the way up to 2,500 calories as an example, and then safely go into the calorie deficit, see the weight loss, and at the end, do that reverse diet again. So, and yes, some cases adding cardio to support that overall fat loss can be good. So if for example, this client, we were in the calorie deficit and we're like, hey, let's go ahead and add in some cardio there. We can add small amounts of cardio, but when we're adding in that cardio, you're going to have to stick with that cardio for the rest of your life unless you reverse out of it, which I'm going to get to that as well in a second. So I will talk through the reasons when you should actually wait to add cardio. Okay. So And this is what I usually do for my clients, right? I just talked about the BPM client who did the reverse diet because she came to me in a restricted place from, I think, like 30 years of yo-yo dieting. She was like, I've got 30 years of metabolic damage. We need to do some work here. She was eating I think she might have been eating keto. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think she might have been doing keto prior to coming into BPM. Healed her metabolism, then we did the calorie deficit. We didn't add any cardio, and then we did the reverse diet again once she hit her goal. So number one, if you are already in a calorie deficit and you're not seeing any changes happen and you decide to go ahead and add in cardio, right? Reverse dieting to the side, like not thinking about that in this current moment. I know I just brought that up a second ago and I realized that might have been confusing. So reverse diet to the side. If you are in that very beginning place where you are, in a restricted place, you are in a plateau, you are not seeing changes happen, and you're like, ooh, I should just add in a bunch of cardio, or maybe you have already added in a bunch of cardio. Essentially, if we are adding in more cardio on top of a calorie deficit or on top of a calorie deficit plus doing cardio, this is going to be putting more stress on our body, which actually can spike our cortisol even more and can actually push us further into a plateau. Our body is not made to be pushed to its limit, and it can actually go into a space of overtraining. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. So if we're in a deficit and we're not seeing changes, we don't want to just immediately add in cardio. And people don't like to do cardio, just being honest. If you are dreading going to the gym and doing 2 hours of cardio every day, or you feel like you are stuck doing 2 hours of cardio every single day of the week, 7 days of the week, you're not going to want to maintain that on top of being completely burnt out, on top of being completely at this plateau, feeling totally lost and why you're not seeing changes. You're going to be dreading the entire day knowing that you have to go do this cardio. And I think for, most of my clients, what we do is we actually reverse out of that cardio during that initial reverse diet. And I really encourage you, this doesn't mean, be a couch potato and just kind of sit around all day. I want you to be active. I want you to live that active lifestyle, but I want you to do it not for weight loss, not to hit a certain step goal, not to check off a box that, is working for a physical goal, but rather for your own long-term health, for your own metabolic health. Being active is so great for our metabolism, so great for our body, and also so great for our long-term health, okay? So I think for a lot of people, the idea of doing cardio comes solely from wanting to see a physical change. And I think a really big mindset tweak that has personally helped me a lot and helps a lot of my clients is learning to do cardio if you want to. If you want to run it because it makes you happy. I have clients who run marathons. I have clients the Disney marathons. I don't know if you're a marathoner, but I have so many people in my life who are like Disney marathon people. I'm like, I should do this one day. I'm not the biggest runner anymore. I used to be. I ran cross country in high school. I would run 6 miles all the time, but for an unhealthy way in college. And now I'm just kind of like, nah, I just like to be active. I like to go to the gym, do my strength training workouts. I like to have an active lifestyle. But my point being here is if you enjoy running, if you enjoy doing those things because it genuinely makes you feel good, then hey, more power to you. But make sure you're pairing that with an adequate amount of food, and also make sure that you are truly giving yourself that little internal check of, am I really doing this because it makes me happy, or am I doing this because I'm terrified of, if I stop, then I will see weight regain. If I stop, I will, lose all my progress. If I stop, then I will not be able to, quote unquote, stay on track. And you really can. You can reverse diet out of cardio. And again, I will talk about that in just 1 second. So the big question is, and I have a piece in my notes, so I might talk about this now. So should you be doing cardio during a reverse diet? The short answer is yes. You may come to me, you may come to the start of the reverse diet and you are doing 2 hours of cardio every day. So maybe you are the example of the person who is eating 1,200 calories, who is doing 60 minutes of cardio, 120 minutes of cardio, aka 2 hours of cardio. And you're like, whoa, I am so overwhelmed. I'm burnt out. I am tired. I'm exhausted. Libido is low, not seeing any changes, having weight regain, right? All of the effects that come with a slow metabolism. And eventually what we do is we start to wean you out of that cardio. So just like a reverse diet where you're making very, very slow and steady changes to your macros. So there are past episodes. I wish I grabbed the number of the episode, but if you scroll back to my past episodes, you can see I've got all kinds of different topics talking about reverse dieting, why you need a reverse diet, how to know if you should reverse diet, how calorie deficits can slow your metabolism, all that fun stuff. But my main thing here is if you are doing a lot of cardio, we can wean out of that just like we are slowly but surely changing our metabolism. So when it comes to reverse diet, we are doing very slow increases to either our protein, our carbs, and our fat. They are not changed all at once. They are changed individually by a very, very, very strategic amount, which is why I cannot tell you how much we want to stay away from just increasing our calories by 50 to 100 every week, right? That is a recipe for disaster for many, many women. And just like we are making very strategic and intentional changes to our macros to make sure that our body and to make sure that our metabolism is adapting and not having that weight regain, we can do the same to our cardio, making very, very strategic adjustments to the amount of cardio that we are doing and the kind of cardio that we're doing in order to wean you off without that weight regain. Because when you think about it, if you are doing 120 minutes of cardio a day, so that's 2 hours, the overall calorie burn really doesn't actually match what I think a lot of people think. They're like, hey, I'm burning 1,000 calories when I'm doing, I actually don't even know what it would be, 100 or 60 minutes of cardio. I actually don't know what that equates. It's been so long. I used to know, but I don't anymore just because I haven't done cardio in so long. Planned cardio, I live an active lifestyle, had to add that in there. But the point being is, yes, you will have an additional calorie burn. And also once you are doing that amount of cardio, you continuously have to do that amount of cardio. If you just completely cut cold turkey and you're like, okay, well, I was doing 7 days a week of 2 hours of cardio, that is 14 hours of cardio in 1 week. Yes, that amount of overall calorie burn will make a difference to your overall body. So if you're doing 14 hours a week, you completely cut it off, then you will see some weight regain, which is also why we want to wean you out of that cardio as well. Okay. Now, I do have the episode number in here. So if you go to episode 113, how to determine if you have a slow metabolism, this is a really, really good one. If you're brand new and you're like, I actually have no idea if I have a slow metabolism or not, go to episode 113. That is going to be great. Now, here is this example. Well, this is kind of just the example that I did. So let me just reiterate here. So we're eating 1,200 calories. We're doing 60 minutes of cardio. We're in a plateau. We're in the restrict binge food guilt cycle. We need that reverse diet. If you just start the reverse diet and you just ditch all the cardio, you can see weight regain, which is why we very intentionally wean you out of that cardio. This allows your body to completely adapt to that cardio slowly and surely, kind of slowing down there without having that weight regain. And so when we do decide, if we do decide that you want to add cardio back in down the road, once you have finished your reverse diet and you are going into a calorie deficit, your body is not dependent on that 7 hours of cardio a week or 14 hours of cardio a week. It's no longer dependent on that. We've completely weaned you off of that without the weight regain. So you can actually add some cardio back in, get a little bit of an extra burn there, right? And you're going into that calorie deficit at the same time. So you're overall in a safe deficit. You're adding a little bit of cardio in for an extra calorie burn. Once you've hit your goal, you can wean back out of that cardio, and also you can increase your intake again using a reverse diet. So I hope that makes sense as well, how you can kind of cycle through. So if you're eating at a low calorie place, say for example 1,200 calories, you're doing a lot of cardio, this means you need a reverse diet. You can get that intake up, and up, right? You can wean yourself out of that cardio, so intake goes up, cardio goes down. You have completely healed your metabolism. You've gone from 1,200 calories all the way up to 2,600 calories. You have overall maintained that weight range. You're feeling good, life is good. Then you go into your calorie deficit. You do it very, very safe to make sure that you are not slashing those calories and destroying your metabolism again. You may or may not add cardio in, totally dependent on you as an individual, how your calorie deficit is going. This is one of the big things that I teach in my Beautiful Peach Mastermind, BPM. I teach you how to do literally all of this. So you go through your calorie deficit, you're able to lose the weight that you want, you're feeling good at the end of your deficit, you're not super, super restricted, you are not in a place where you are binging or restricting, you're overall having so much food freedom while you are seeing those changes to your body, so you're feeling good internally, right? You're not harming any of your systems, your body systems, you have great energy, you have great libido, your metabolism's thriving, everything's doing really, really well. Your hunger cues are doing great, your cycle is doing well, everything is doing really well in your body because you're doing this safely. And also, maybe you don't add any cardio. So you get to the end of your calorie deficit and you're feeling great. Then you go ahead and you do a reverse diet again to make sure that you maintain what you lost in that calorie deficit, but also to get your intake back up. So I know that was a big explanation for how that cycle goes, but it's a very good one. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when we are, when you go into a calorie deficit and you're doing all this cardio, you can't just, stop all the cardio and go back to the way that you were eating before that calorie deficit. Otherwise you will have that weight regain. Okay. Now, when it comes to our body composition as well and cardio, one big thing that I personally did that made a huge difference to me is when I did my first reverse diet, I was weaning out of my mass amounts of cardio and I actually started doing more strength training. And if this is your cup of tea, awesome. I highly encourage you to at least try. I did not know if I would like strength training or not. Turns out I absolutely love it. I currently now go to a strength specific, it's a weightlifting gym, and I am like living my best life. It's crazy how when your environment of the gym fits you, or you're in, environment of, if you like to go to classes, if you like to, whatever it is that you like to do, when that environment feels good, it makes you want to go. It truly makes you want to go. So if you're someone who's doing all this cardio and you're unhappy, you're not going to want to go to do it, right? You're not going to do it. But if you're going and doing strength training and you're feeling good and you're feeling strong and it's making you feel confident, you're going to want to continuously go back and do more. And that's what happened to me. I ended up absolutely thriving so very much. And what's really neat is our body and the way that our body works as we are building more muscle. Something very interesting too is muscle weighs more than fat. And I think a lot of people will see, again, it comes back to people hyper focusing on the scale. They're like, oh my gosh, SOS, I'm seeing these fluctuations, but they're going down in inches. And it's like, this is a win for you. Like, you are killing it. Like, you are gaining more muscle. You're getting that, physique that you want to have. So when you are building that beautiful lean muscle and you are weaning out of that cardio and pairing it with an active lifestyle, like being active, also pairing it with enough food, you will overall be promoting fat loss, promoting that lean muscle growth, and also really, really leaning into the overall healing process of your body. So if you haven't, also I have an episode in here, episode 111, why you cannot properly build muscle in a calorie deficit. So if you are someone who is strength training, but you are also doing all of this cardio, you're in a calorie deficit and you're like, why can't I build muscle? Go listen to episode 111. It's got a lot of really good information in there. So the second thing here is when we are weaning off of doing way too much cardio, we are actually going to be supporting healthy cortisol levels, okay? And essentially when our body is being overtrained, so doing way too much cardio, and also maybe you are somebody who you might not be doing as much cardio, but you're still working out 7 days a week. You are still not taking any rest days. You are just like pushing your body to its absolute max. You can still go into burnout from this place. And then pairing that with a very low calorie deficit, you've kind of got the double whammy of overdoing it in the gym and also underdoing it when it comes to food. And so our body's actually going to go into a fight or flight phase. Our body cannot tell the difference between us internally restricting the amount of food that we're eating and completely going into this like overtraining mode, and us, being out in the wilderness, running from bears and not being able to find food. That would put us in a fight or flight, right? Or that would put us in like I'm going to do everything to defend my body, to keep my body functioning. So it will be in that place where it's like, hey, am I intentionally starving myself, or am I out in the wilderness and I can't find food? Am I out in the wilderness sprinting, all day, every day, trying to hide from bears and to, stay away from these like environmental, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like bears and dangers out in the wilderness? Or am I just going to the gym and doing tons and tons and tons and overdoing it? So our body doesn't know the difference, and it's going to be a protective mechanism. And so as we are actually taking a step back from doing all of that cardio and eating such a low intake, our cortisol actually starts to reset, and it really starts to help our body heal. And instead of holding on to everything for dear life, it actually starts to release it, and it says, we're going to be okay. We can actually go back into this place where our body is starting to get really, really regulated. Our just entire body's like, hey, I can breathe. I can do this. I can relax. I don't have to be in this fight or flight. I don't have to be in this, space of protecting my body at all costs. And your body can actually start to respond better, okay? And then 3, the big thing here is, if I want to reiterate this, because if you are somebody who you love cardio, you absolutely love cardio, and you enjoy it, you enjoy running, please don't take this as I'm saying, like, don't do it, okay? I'm just saying it more of be wary of if you are overdoing it. Number 1, if you're pushing yourself into a plateau. Number 2, give yourself that little internal check. Hey, am I doing this because I want to see physical changes, or am I doing it because it genuinely makes me feel good? It genuinely makes me feel happy, and I feel this is what I like to do. Okay, so big takeaways from this episode. I know this one felt like a little bit of an ADD episode because I feel like I had so many things to say, and I lost, as I always do, where I was in my notes here, and I'm like, oh, I've got this to talk about. Oh, I've got this to talk about. And so the big takeaways here is, number 1, how I define cardio. We either have planned cardio or just being active, okay? Planned cardio is, intentionally going to the gym to run on the treadmill. Trisket really wants out the door, and she's just staring at it. She's so cute. Number 2, when is best to do cardio? If you enjoy it, more power to you. But if you're doing it as punishment, as a method for weight loss, and in fear of weight regain, let's do a little check there and see where your overall intake is. And then let's go ahead and take a peek and see if we can do a reverse diet for you to wean you out of that cardio to get you into a really, really great place. I heard this quote, and I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but it's basically like our overall fat loss progress, our overall body progress. If you imagine a car, like nutrition, what we eat, healing our metabolism, our macros, that's going to be the driver of the car. Our workouts, our cardio, all of that's going to be the passenger. So we really want to make sure that we have our metabolism in check. We have our macros in check. We're really healing from the inside out on that piece. And then also we want to make sure that that secondary piece of the cardio, of the workouts, is also being healed. But that's the passenger, right? The driver is going to be the nutrition, the metabolism, all that fun stuff. If you are when not to do cardio, and again, this is kind of similar to the question above, if it's for punishment, like let's talk about this. Let's kind of create a healthier game plan around around cardio. Let's get you into an active lifestyle. Let's wean out of that mass amount of cardio. Let's do a reverse diet. Let's get you into a really healthy space to where you're not using cardio as a punishment because you ate too much the day before and you want to work it off, or because you're going on vacation, so you're trying to burn extra now. And in reality, that actually, and I hate to like break it to you, because I was like, when I was in a place of bad restriction, of over exercising to try and like make up for things, or because I was going on vacation, our body, it doesn't actually work that way. You can't technically make up for food that you overate, and it really pushes your body into more of like a, whoa, what's happening kind of phase. And how cardio impacts your reverse diet. Reversing out of cardio during the reverse diet process is the way to go. Helps with our cortisol, helps with our body really healing from the inside out. And also, if you decide that you would like to add in a cardio during your calorie deficit after you have reverse dieted, that's something that we can do as well, but not everybody needs to do that, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are excited, if you're like, hey, Caitlen, I need some support, I currently have spots open for my Beautiful Peach Mastermind, BPM, and I am just so very excited. So BPM is my high-level coaching program for women who do want to do literally everything that I just talked about, who want to heal their metabolism from diet burnout so we can wean you out of that cardio, so we can really get your metabolism to a thriving place. Then you can go into a safe calorie deficit, right? See that weight loss happen, maybe not even add any cardio in, and really just have that long-term fat loss, really have that full stepping into this next chapter of your life. I created BPM to be the last program that you will ever need, and I pride myself so very much because I have been in this industry for, over a decade. I have all of the education to back everything that I'm doing, and everything that we do in BPM, all that I coach, is the way that our body actually works, right? We're not trying to replace meals with meal replacement bars. We're not trying to take shakes and act like that's the way to go. We are using real food. We are using literally the food that you want. If you have to be, if you've got a dairy intolerance, if you can't eat gluten, if you're vegetarian, vegan, like whatever it may be, it does not matter, because your preferences, you get to be heard, you get to be seen, and also we're fueling our body. There's no such thing as, you can or cannot have certain foods. No, you get to eat what you want, and we're going to make sure we're healing from the inside out. It's the way that our body works. So I get very, very excited. I am the kind of coach who is a very, very hands-on coach, because every single client, every single woman in the entire world is going to be so different with your metabolism, with your lifestyle, with your goals, with your past diet history, with your day-to-day life. Like, I want you to be planning those weekend trips. I want you to be going on vacation. I want you to be enjoying the holidays, to going, out to eat and eating those foods that don't have nutrition labels, because I want to support you through learning how to navigate all of those situations so you can truly step into this next chapter of your life, have this freedom, and know how to navigate the real world without thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to get off track. And that's why BPM is like the creme de la creme, because you are learning everything that I am doing as a coach, on top of having that high level support, getting you into this next chapter of your life. You're also learning how to adjust macros and cardio, how to wean out of cardio. Like, you are getting these step-by-step walkthrough of exactly what you need to do, exactly what macro to adjust for your reverse diet to get you into that place where you're thriving, exactly how I do check-ins for my clients. You're learning how to do them for yourself. You learn how to do calorie deficits. You learn how to do lean bulks if that's something that you want to do, how to go through all of these different phases, and also how to go intuitive down the road once you hit your goal. And I am so proud of my clients, because they show up in BPM, they see these changes, and they reach out years down the road. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday. I worked with her 5 years ago, and she's absolutely thriving. And that's the point of BPM. I don't want you to have to rely on me for the rest of your life. I want you to be in this place of true freedom, of getting the results that you want, and also knowing how to maintain those without having to rely on me, which is also why I don't do meal plans. I don't want to give you a rigid meal plan. Then you're stuck with it. You can't randomly go out to dinner. You can't randomly go get Starbucks. I want to teach you how to create your own meal plans Plus, I also eat different foods every single day, so I can't eat the same things every day, and I think a lot of people are like that. So anyway, I'm getting all excited here. I love BPM so very much. It is an investment and it is worth it, and it will change your life. It will be the last investment you ever need to make for you, and it will save you in the long run from all of those medical bills down the road. It will save your overall quality of life, increase that quality of life, and you are so deserving of it. You are so deserving of it. So with all this, I am going to end this episode because it was a long one, but it was a good one, and I'm super excited. Please never hesitate to reach out and ask me any and all questions that you do have, or just to tell me that you enjoy my podcast. My Instagram is CSCHMIGT.fit. You can also just grab it down below in the show notes. Send me a DM. I am in there all the time. That's like where I hang out for the most part, and I'm grateful for you listening to this. I adore you to pieces, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, my beautiful peach.